All right, welcome back. This is part one of the steering and suspension inspection. And in this video series, I'm going to talk to you about what to inspect in the lower part of the steering and suspension on any vehicle that is on the market for sale. And I'm just going to kind of walk you through the step-by-step process of how I would inspect a vehicle. And you're going to learn some of my tricks and tips to help you to find an amazing deal. So while test driving, what you want to do is inspect the steering wheel for straightness. You're going to inspect the steering wheel for straightness to be sure that the vehicle tracks straight. Some of the things that you're going to be looking out for while on a test drive is you want to make sure the steering wheel is not crooked. Just like in the image to your right, you want to make sure if that steering wheel is crooked, you want to be sure to make a note down on your notepad so we can have a discussion with the owner about a few things that you can, scratch off on the checklist. So next, you want to be sure that the vehicle doesn't drift or pull. Now, there's a difference. If the vehicle pulls, it's like a hard jerk to either the left or the right. Now, if a vehicle drifts, it's like a slight sweep to the left or the right. You'll be able to tell once you get in a vehicle and drive it and you'll know if the vehicle pulls or drifts. Some of the things that can cause a vehicle to pull is, you know, bad calipers. But we're really not going to worry about that this instance because we're talking about the steering and suspension. We'll get into that some more in the brakes portion of the inspection process. And when a vehicle drifts to either the left or the right, it could either be the tire or it could either be, the tires may need some air. And what you want to do next, do you remember the towel that I talked to you about in the tools needed portion of the video? You're going to pull that out because you're going to need that right now to get down low and inspect. I just want to talk to you about a few things in the undercarriage area. If this is a vehicle that you're for sure you're going to buy, later on in the coming videos, I'm going to show you how to take it to some major Fortune 500 repair shops to help you with your buying decision. Right now, you're going to be inspecting the rack and pinion for torn boots or oil residue coming from the boot housing. And what you're going to do is you're going to kneel down and you're going to look underneath. And to your right there, we have a image, and that's a torn boot. You're going to be looking for that, right? On the rack and pinion. You're going to grab your flashlight. You're going to get down low and look around to see if you see any torn boots. You have a left side and you have a right side. So you just want to kind of look to see if you see any oil, just like you see here in the image. You're going to look for oil residue that's coming from the boots. And I don't want to say you can mark this vehicle off your list, but this is for sure a thing that you want to mark down on your notepad and let the owner know that this is what it's going to cost to fix these things. You add up the cost of what it costs to repair that boot, because more than likely sometimes it may not even be the boot. It could be the rack and pinion inside of the rack and pinion that's leaking a seal, and the only way to repair that is to put a brand new rack and pinion in there, and that could be really costly. And some rack and pinions cost as much as $1,500 to fix. So we want to be sure that we inspect the vehicle properly, and if we see any of these things, we want to note it down and talk to the owner about it at the end when we do our complete inspection if the deal is something that we want to move forward with. Um, you'll get to see the remainder of the suspension inspection if this is the final vehicle choice of yours. So I don't want to worry too much. This is something basic that you need to look out for underneath the vehicle. You just get down there and you just poke your flashlight around there and you look to see if you see any leaks coming from the rack and pinion housing. If you're not too sure, whoever is there that is walking you through that vehicle, they can show you what it is. If it's a used car dealer or even a private seller. Some of the trucks are a lot easier to see because they're a lot taller and higher, so that's going to be a breeze to inspect. So that's what you should look forward to with seeing the rack and pinion portion of any vehicle that you're interested in. All right, so what I want to talk about next is the struts and shocks. The struts and shocks are usually on springs. Some of them are not on springs. As you see here in the top one, that one is on a spring, and the lower one is not on a spring. And these things help the ride feel really nice when you go over bumps. If we didn't have these things in the vehicles, it would be a really, really harsh ride. And when these struts and shocks go bad, it becomes really, really harsh. I don't know if you've driven a vehicle before with bad shocks or struts on them, and it's just not a comfortable ride. So what you want to do is inspect the strut and shocks shaft for oil residue. All of these things have oil inside of them. This is what helps to make the ride a lot smoother. They go up and down. And what causes them to go bad is the seals inside of them break. And, this is something that happens over time. Usually when you see these things go bad on a vehicle, it's probably somewhere in the mileage range of about 100,000 miles. So these things don't break too often, but they are still costly to repair. On a set of two shocks or strut, depending on what it is, a shock or strut, you may pay anywhere in the ball area of about, I say, about 800 to $1,000 to repair. I mean, these things aren't cheap to repair, so we want to take these things into consideration once when we're inspecting a vehicle. So you just kind of peek down there with your towel again, kneel down on your towel in the front and the back. You're going to be doing the same thing. You get in there and you peek around with your flashlight, and you'll be able to see oil residue if it is leaking. Just like you see here in the images, the oil residue is going to be right on that shock or on that strut, and it's just running down. So what's going to be happening is you're going to see a lot of dirt and debris in that area because oil has spilled there, and it's just going to collect. But you'll be able to tell. It's not hard to inspect, and it should be a breeze to inspect on trucks too. So that would be really cool when you notice these things, and you'll be able to put it on your list of things that you want to talk to the owner about to kind of cut the cost on that vehicle. All right, welcome back. This is part 4 of the electric strut and shock inspection. Um, this is one of the subjects that's kind of near and dear to my heart because I know the pain of driving a vehicle with an air shock or air strut, because I too had a Lincoln Navigator, a 2000 Lincoln Navigator that had this same setup. It went bad 2 years after I bought it. And when I called the dealer to ask them how much it was to repair two, you would not believe what they told me. When I asked the guy, I said, how much is it? And this is just parts. For two, it was $1,500. That's just parts. So imagine the repair cost, the total bill, repair cost with parts and labor. It's probably going to be around $2,000 just to do that. So I didn't even waste my time to even do that. So thank God I knew what I knew at the time about automotive, And I just, went to the store and ordered some springs because you can put spring on it instead of the same air shocks or air strut. And I just converted it, and it worked out well for me. So just imagine if they didn't have that option for a spring, I would be losing my shirt. So this is the reason why I'm telling you to look out for this when you're going to inspect these vehicles. And the type of vehicles that have these air shocks and air struts are high, I say in the high brand range of Lincoln Navigators, Range Rovers, what else? Audis, some of the more fancier cars, the more fancier brands. So you want to look out for that. Let me tell you something right now, and please listen to me. If you go to look for a used vehicle, private seller or a used car dealer, and you go there and you see that vehicle on the floor as if it's lowered like it's a lowrider, you want to make sure that vehicle sits up straight. If it does not sit up straight, you have an issue. When you start the vehicle should rise. If it does not rise, guys, and you're there for 10-15 minutes and it doesn't rise, there's an issue with that air shock system. And I just want to politely tell you, if they can't get it fixed, if the owner or the used car dealer can't get it fixed, walk away. I'm telling you right now, it's a headache, it's a pain in the butt, and it's very expensive, just like I told you. So the cost, we already talked about the cost. And for as much as one, or just one single air strut or air shock, it can cost you as much as $850. But you're not going to do one, you're going to do them both, so you can just kind of get it out of the way. So let's be very aware of these things when we go and inspect a vehicle. All right, guys, this is part 5 of the steering and suspension on the carriage. And again, this is a vehicle that you see here that is rusted to, oh my gosh, this is just really, really bad. In the business of automotive, right? In my career, I've seen so many vehicles come into the shop that is rusted like this. So again, what you want to do is kneel down with your towel and your flashlight and look beneath the undercarriage. If this is a vehicle that I wouldn't even recommend buying a vehicle like this. If you see this, just run as far as you can. I am telling you right now, because you fix one thing, another thing breaks. And it just keeps going. Rust is sort of like, uh, you know, it's cancerous. Um, it, it just keeps spreading. When you think that you fixed it, it just continues to spread. And you do not want to buy a vehicle with a rusty undercarriage. Some of these cars and vehicles come from up north in a colder climate where there's a lot of snow and salt being dumped on the road because they're trying to get the the snow to go away. And some of these vehicles come with a lot of rust on it from people living by the beach. And this is how these vehicles get a lot of rust on them. So you want to kneel down and check that vehicle thoroughly. Guys, I repeat, I don't care how cheap that vehicle is. If it's rusty on the undercarriage, do not buy it. That rust is going to travel all over the place, and it's going to be a complete headache. It's going to be a complete headache. So this is the reason why I am showing you these things, because I've seen what it costs to repair a vehicle with a lot of rust. And it's not cheap at all. So stay away from these vehicle, guys. This is part 5 for the steering and suspension. And this is the end of this inspection for the steering and suspension. And I just want to tell you, I have more tips and tricks for you. I'll see you in the next video.